There's something poetically satisfying about watching your husband's career implode on the very same corporate credit card he used to pay for his mistress's creme brulee. Especially when 17 executives are watching it happen in real time, thinking they're about to get a quarterly marketing presentation. I didn't plan on becoming the producer of Boston's most exclusive reality show that Wednesday evening. But when your husband of 11 years is dumb enough to take his side piece to the restaurant where your college best friend is the general manager, well, that's just the universe handing you the director's chair. Let me back up. I'm Olivia Munro, 35, Senior Marketing Director at Apex Solutions. We're a tech firm where working late is practically a personality trait, and company loyalty is supposed to rival your marriage vows. Ironic, right? My husband, William 37, is or rather, was our director of sales. The kind of guy who collects LinkedIn endorsements like they're Olympic medals and unironically calls himself a rainmaker. We met at Apex 12 years ago, married 11 years back. We built what I thought was the perfect power couple life in our Beacon Hill brownstone. No kids. Our careers were our babies. Or so we told ourselves. Last Tuesday, William tossed his overnight bag onto the bedroom chair and announced, "Olivia, I've got that convention in Chicago tomorrow. 3 days of mindless networking and mediocre hotel coffee. George wants me to smooth the card people for that new partnership." I barely looked up from my laptop. "Early car service at 5 a.m., he said, checking the Rolex I gave him for our 10th anniversary. You spend a decade married, you develop a sixth sense for things. I didn't have that tingle yet, but looking back, the red flags were waving frantically, the sudden trip, the vague details, the late-night prep work. 11 years of trust buys a whole lot of benefit of the doubt. The next day, around 7 p.m., I was still in the office when my phone buzzed. It was Quinn Sullivan, my friend since our Boston University days and the general manager of Harbor Lights, that swanky seaport restaurant where you need to book 3 months in advance. Weird question. Isn't William supposed to be in Chicago? My stomach didn't just drop, it performed a full Olympic diving routine. I typed back, "Yes. Card Tech Convention." Why? 3 dots pulsed for what felt like eternity. Because he just walked into my restaurant with Clara Collins from your HR department. Private table in the back. Very cozy. Very not business casual. Clara Collins, 26. The new HR intern with the sunshine smile and Harvard MBA. The one William had personally championed for our executive training program and mentioned in every other sentence for 3 months. Paige had this brilliant idea. Paige brings such fresh energy to the team. I was so busy being impressed by his mentorship that I missed the painfully obvious. My husband was having the world's most transparent midlife crisis. I typed, "Are you sure it's them?" Quinn responded with a photo. There they were, William in his power suit, leaning in close. His hand on hers, and, the cherry on top, the corporate credit card sitting right on the table edge. This is the part where some viewers will hit skip ad. But what if you're next? What if the universe is trying to warn you about a disaster you need to avoid? Hit that subscribe button right now. Don't let your complacency get in the way of survival. If you don't subscribe, tell me below in the comments why you're choosing to live in blissful, dangerous ignorance. Quinn offered to spit in his food. But I had something much better in mind. "Can you give me access to your security camera feed? Just for an hour?" Quinn, bless her petty heart, didn't hesitate. I could have gone nuclear. Stormed down there, thrown his overpriced Cabernet in his lying face. But I believe revenge, like a fine wine, benefits from proper preparation. I looked at my calendar and saw it. The quarterly strategy meeting, 8:30 p.m. The one William was supposed to attend from his Chicago hotel room. I called our admin and had them add screen sharing capabilities review to the agenda. Then I sent a company-wide email, reminding everyone of the critical strategy alignment at 8:30 sharp. At 8:28, I logged into the Harbor Lights security system. Camera 8 gave a crystal-clear view, William refilling Clara's champagne glass. His wedding ring was clearly visible. They were sharing the seafood tower, the one I'd introduced him to on our anniversary 2 years ago. At 8:30, 17 executives joined the Zoom call. 20 minutes in, right when attention typically starts to wander, I cleared my throat. Before we move to department updates, I'd like to share something relevant to our transparency initiative and resource allocation discussions. With 3 clicks, I broadcast the Harbor Lights Camera 8 feed to the entire executive team. There they were, sharing a forkful of chocolate souffle. The Zoom chat exploded instantly. I continued, in my best presentation voice. As you can see, we have an interesting case study in progress. Our director of sales, who expense reported a $1,200 flight to Chicago and $450 a night at the Langham Hotel, is actually conducting what appears to be a non-business dinner with our newest HR intern at Harbor Lights. You'll note the corporate AMX on the table. Dead silence fell over the call. Our CEO, Robert Harrison, unmuted first. Miss Monroe, is this some kind of joke? Not at all, sir. Just demonstrating our new transparency analytics in action. This is happening right now. I smiled thinly. I've taken the liberty of forwarding relevant email correspondence to compliance and legal before this meeting. Now, shall we continue with the scheduled department updates, or would you prefer to watch the dessert course in its entirety? Do you know what's scarier than a corporate meltdown? The realization that you're watching this video, learning these moves, and still haven't hit the notification bell. You're inviting future regret. Turn on those notifications. Don't be that person who misses the next chapter. If you're refusing, tell me why you believe ignorance is bliss in the comments. The next 24 hours unfolded like a corporate disaster movie. After broadcasting William's infidelity, I calmly wrapped up the meeting. My final words: I trust this information will be handled with the same professionalism and discretion that Apex Solutions prides itself on. The CEO simply said, Miss Monroe, my office, 7 a.m. tomorrow. Legal and HR will join us. Meanwhile, William and Clara remained blissfully unaware, lingering at Harbor Lights until nearly 11 p.m., running up a bill of $347 on that corporate card. I went home and methodically implemented what I call the extinction protocol. First, I called my family lawyer, Diane Winters, and left a message about a sudden change in my marital situation. Next, I transferred half of our joint savings to my personal account. Then, I changed all my passwords. Sorry, William. You'll have to find out what happens in the new season of Betrayed Spouses of Boston on your own account. The crowning achievement: I found the Find My app still active on William's iPad, which he'd forgotten in his rush to not go to Chicago. I watched the little blue dot move from Harbor Lights to an address in Brooklyn, which, after a quick search, was Clara's luxury apartment complex. I slept surprisingly well that night. At 6:55 a.m., I walked into Apex headquarters. I had already packed William's belongings into garbage bags and left them in the loading dock with a note: free to a desperate home. Slightly used sales director with loyalty issues. In the CEO's office, our general counsel, David Powell, looked like he was mentally calculating billable hours for this particular corporate dumpster fire. The CEO, Robert, began, Miss Monroe, your actions last night raised serious concerns about professional judgment and company protocols. I smiled the way I imagined a great white shark might right before a feeding frenzy. I completely understand, Robert. That's why I've prepared this folder, containing every email, text message, and calendar invitation between William and Clara for the past 4 months. I placed a second folder on the desk, and this contains the expense reports showing William's pattern of claiming business trips that coincide remarkably with Clara's professional development conferences. The Chicago convention he was supposedly attending? I called them this morning. They have no record of his registration. I continued. While I understand my methods were unconventional, I discovered and reported a significant misuse of company resources, a violation of our conflict of interest policy, and potentially a case of preferential treatment that exposes Apex to considerable liability. All by using the transparency tools our own company develops. Robert's face went from stern disappointment to reluctant appreciation. Then I dropped the final bomb. I recognize this is an untenable working situation, so I've prepared a third option. My resignation, effective in 2 weeks, contingent upon a standard non-disclosure agreement and the severance package outlined on page 2. The silence that followed was the expensive kind. And if we were to counteroffer with an alternative arrangement? Robert asked, studying me with newfound respect. William is the one who violated company policy. It would be unfortunate to lose 2 senior leaders over one person's indiscretion. I left his office 2 hours later with a promotion to Executive Vice President of Strategic Marketing, a 30% salary increase, and the keys to a new corner office, specifically William's corner office. You've just witnessed a total boss move. If this story gives you even a tiny boost of confidence, you owe it to yourself to subscribe. Think of it as karma insurance. Don't leave without subscribing. If you won't, comment and tell me you prefer to learn these lessons the hard way. By Friday morning, William tried to make a grand entrance at Apex, storming toward the executive floor. We watched his futile attempts to access the floor on the live security feed. Watching him repeatedly swipe his deactivated keycard was the same morbid satisfaction as seeing someone try to pay for their groceries with expired coupons, multiplied by 11 years of resentment. Eventually, Robert himself handed William an envelope, the official notice of his administrative leave. William made the critical error of attempting to push past him. That's a workplace conduct violation, which gave legal grounds for a restraining order. I spent the next night setting the final trap. William had been locked out of our Beacon Hill home. His final message screamed, "I'm coming home. We need to talk face to face." My third call was to Quinn, who happily arranged for me to be seated at Harbor Lights, Table 9, just far enough from the infamous Table 8. Quinn also set up a tablet showing the live security feed of our building's lobby. Sure enough, at 8:15 p.m., the tablet showed William striding into our lobby. The bewilderment on his face when the concierge blocked his path was priceless. He pulled out his phone, no doubt to call me, only to watch me decline his call in real time on the tablet. He looked directly at the security camera, realizing he was being watched while experiencing the full consequences of his own actions. The final piece was Clara. She texted me, "We need to talk. It's not what you think." I texted her back, "Beacon Street Coffee. 10 a.m. Come alone. One chance to talk." The coffee shop was strategically perfect, directly across the street from the boutique hotel where William was staying. She arrived looking desperate. "William told me you two were separated. He said you'd agreed to an open marriage." I maintained my neutral expression. "Harvard MBA. And you didn't conduct due diligence on such a significant risk." Her true motivation came out. "I don't want my career destroyed because I believed someone's lies." She had arranged a transfer to the Seattle office. As I turned to leave, I added, casually, "By the way, did William mention he's been seeing someone else besides you? A client relations manager from Card Tech named Michelle? They've been meeting at the River Hotel during those Chicago conventions for months." The color drained from her face. I gave her the password to check his texts. "Harvard MBA, remember? Always verify your sources." I walked out without looking back, but the footage Quinn arranged for me to see later showed exactly what I expected. Clara furiously typing on her phone, then storming across the street toward William's hotel with murder in her eyes. Phase 4, Divide and Conquer, was proceeding perfectly. 6 months can change everything. Half a year since Table 8. I traded my wedding ring for a corner office and the profound satisfaction of watching a house of cards collapse under the weight of its own deception. The Beacon Hill brownstone went to William in the divorce. I wanted nothing that carried the fingerprints of our marriage. A clean slate was worth more than square footage. The professional aftermath has been nothing short of remarkable. Apex experienced a 23% increase in sales after I implemented the new cross-departmental structure. Turns out, removing a narcissistic middle manager with mediocre ideas works wonders for efficiency. I'm now permanent, with a compensation package that would make William's eyes water. William tried and failed to secure a director-level position at 3 different companies, all of which mysteriously received anonymous emails containing security footage from a certain restaurant. He's currently a sales manager at a mid-tier tech company in Providence, making roughly half his previous salary. The most unexpected development has been Quinn Sullivan. We've been meeting for dinner every Thursday for 6 months. Strictly professional at first, then gradually evolving into something neither of us was looking for, but both of us apparently needed. Quinn said last week, "You know what's ironic? If William had chosen literally any other restaurant in Boston for his affair, we never would have met." The experience taught me 3 invaluable lessons. Trust but verify. Apply the same due diligence to personal relationships as you do to marketing campaigns. Revenge is a dish best served on company letterhead. Strategic professional maneuvering creates lasting consequences. Catastrophe often clears the path for opportunity. Without Table 8, I would still be second fiddle, married to a man whose mediocrity I had mistaken for stability. Life after infidelity isn't about rebuilding what was lost. It's about constructing something entirely new from better materials. And if you're smart about it, You can architect a reality so superior to your previous existence that you find yourself almost grateful for the demolition. Almost. As for William, I hear Table 8 at Harbor Lights is permanently reserved under his name, not because he ever dines there, but because Quinn thought it would make an excellent corporate cautionary tale. Some legacies aren't quite what we envision for ourselves. You've made it this far. You've learned the protocol. Now it's time to choose. Are you going to be an Olivia, or are you going to be a William? Don't let your inner fear keep you from leveling up. Smash that like button if you believe in professional retribution, and subscribe immediately if you want more stories of strategic victory. Every time you don't subscribe, a mediocre man gets promoted. Don't let that happen. Subscribe now, or forever hold your peace.